Chaim is going to show a few friends here today how we make corned beef, and what else are we making? Pastrami?
Well, curing meat, there's actually no difference between corned beef and pastrami for the curing part. The difference is just what you do at the end, whether you smoke it or not. So that's all different.
So we're going to have fun. We have a few friends that came and brought their meat, and how do we do it? Chaim?
Okay. We could do a different day for hot dog making or salami making. No, I'm not telling you. Hot dogs is a harder job, and not harder, pachki.
You have like the,
I have everything.
packing.
I have everything. I'll show you. Nothing's expensive.
Where do you buy that stuff? Like the casings?
No, the casings depends what casing. Like if you're buying synthetic casing, then Amazon, because it doesn't be kosher. If you're buying real casing, then there are places in Israel who sell it with.
Like intestines?
Well, no, intestines you can't buy in Israel. I mean, I could get you some.
I know.
No, I don't want. No.
Well, I have a person who's shchita. I have a friend who's a shoichet, so he saves the intestines for me. But you can't. They don't sell them in stores here.
You can't get good kishka.
No, but they make collagen. Right? So they're in collagen casings, and those have to be kosher because collagen could be treif. And there are stores in Israel. If you look online for collagen casings, you'll find kosher casings, or you'll talk to me and I don't know. They have a few kilometers of casings. It's not a. But why you buy a box? You buy it one time for a few years. If you make it, you make it. So, but you don't have to like hot dogs. Is, like I said, it's a big pachki. But if you want to do sausages, the same size. I mean, it won't be a hot dog. The difference between hot dogs and sausages is the texture. I mean, you obviously know that, right? Salami is a different texture than a hot dog. And anyways, we could do a different day of hot dogs, a day of salami. If you guys are into that, I do it all the time, so it's really not a big deal. We start with the first question: is what meat do you use for corned beef, pastrami, or whatever meat you want. Like it literally doesn't matter. The flavor comes from the nitrate. That unique flavor and the color. That's where it comes from. And any sausages or pastrami corn, which people try to do without nitrites, there's a lot of research about it. People just don't like it as much. There's a uniqueness of flavor between roast beef and corned beef, and that's just what it is. So you could give up on it if you want to, but okay,
It won't taste so.
It will taste good. It will be a good piece of meat. You flavored it, you cooked it. I'm sure everyone cooks meat for Shabbos. Well, that's what it will be. You won't have that uniqueness. So originally, the corned beef pastrami was invented as a way to preserve meat. So that's why originally it was the cheapest cuts of meat. Whatever the butcher couldn't sell, make corned beef out of. Of course, nowadays it became fancy. Obviously, the amount of fat, is important. The more fat, the flavor. I don't need to get into that. How do we brine it? So there's two ways of brining. There's wet brine, which we put liquid in, and there is dry brine, which no liquid at all, just spices onto the meat and
like a rub.
A rub, essentially. Right. Now, the main difference is whether we're adding water in or not. Because what happens is mainly the salt, it extracts liquid out of the meat, and then the liquid goes back in while it's salted. So if we did dry, the liquid came out. Right? If you ever sold a piece of meat left on the counter, right? We've all done that. So it goes in with the flavor. And if it's a wet brine, so more water comes in. So the big difference is that a wet brine will make the meat more juicy, right? Because more liquid will enter, but also at the same time it will reduce the flavor of the meat itself won't be as strong.
Right. It's better watered down.
Because the water down a little bit, right? And a dry brine will be more intense beef flavor. What do you like more? You'll find out as you do it. Everybody likes a different thing, so it doesn't really matter.
What do we usually do? We do the wet, right?
I usually do the wet brine. It's just easier for me. Even though it doesn't matter if you have a vacuum machine, I can do that too. If you guys want to have a dry brine, I can pull out my vacuum machine. No. So the cutting doesn't matter. The only difference will be that you got to know how to cook the meat at the end.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So if you're using a number 8, which needs a long cooking, so the brine makes it even longer cooking.
Oh, interesting.
It increases the cooking time.
Okay.
So an important, keep the temperature low.
Right.
So since we're talking cooking, I'll mention this now. Since we're not going to cook together, because this is only going to be cooked in a week or two, everyone depending on your thickness of your meat. So depending on if you want to serve it hot or cold, like a deli or a pastrami, that's your cooking time will differ. Because if you want to slice nice thin slices of deli, you can't bring the meat to a point where it's so soft because then it'll just fall apart in shreds as you slice it. Where if you're serving it hot, you don't care. You make nice thick slices, and so pay attention to that. It could be an hour to 2 hour difference in the cooking time. So spices, we'll use my recipe. I know it works. I know it's good. Really, the basic and the most important part is the amounts of salt and sugar and nitrite. Everything else is whatever you like. Really, once you figured out the salt sugar amount, which I will. We'll just do it. It's the easy part. I figured it out. And it's hard when you were doing kosher meat because every ashgacha has also a different amount of salt. So generally speaking, the more important your name is, the more salt is in your meat. So, for example, you grow machmul, so you're going to put less salt than regular chalak does. And if you have Eda meat, then even less salt. Why? I don't know. Just I've tried them all, and you'll also notice yourself as when you buy different kashruyot, you'll see there's a difference. So you got to be careful. The amount of salt we want, generally speaking, in a finished product is about 1.5% to 2%. Unless you're British, then you can go up to 3%, and God save your soul. But I got to tell this joke. It's my favorite one. What's the most British thing in the world? To conquer the whole world for spice and then not use it. Right? So they go extreme on salt and they like it. Like if you find, that's why it's important when you look for recipes online, you see salt and amount differences. Different places in the world like different amounts. From my testings, between 1.5% and 2% is the best results. Also, it will give different results on the meat, like tenderness and whatever. Also, so that's also important. But I'm talking about flavor alone. From what I've seen, 1.5% to 2% is where we're good. Above that, it becomes a bit nasty. Unless you're British. Like I said, for some reason they're tolerant to salt. Other places in the world can go as low as 1%. To me, that's tasteless at that point.
Some people like spicy food. British people like salty food.
Right. So it really depends where you are in the world. Some people just like less salt. But we'll do something here. You don't like it? Well, we'll only have an exact recipe. You reduce the amount. There's aggressive spices. They're not so important. You might need a scale for one reason is to weigh your meat. And if you bought it in the store, just write it down because it's always, it's not written now, but whenever you buy the meat, they measure it for you.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. You can manage without a scale. In water, you could just measure in, here, it says liter is kilo, it's the same thing.